According to the laws of physics, time travel is theoretically possible, but mainstream science claims that we have not yet been able to achieve it. While many take the claims of mainstream science at face value, many others point to several pieces of evidence that support the theory that we have already achieved time travel. One of the most astonishing pieces of evidence is the testimony of Bielek, who claims to have traveled into the future during the Philadelphia experiment. The Philadelphia experiment is a purported experiment that took place at the Philadelphia Navy shipyard in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, carried out by the U.S. Navy. The experiment is reported to have happened on October 28, 1943, when the U.S. Navy destroyer escort, the USS Eldridge, was rendered invisible. Alfred Bielek claims to have been a part of the experiment, and according to his accounts, the experiment sent him into the future where he remained for several days. Bielek claims to have been a crewman on the USS Eldridge when the Philadelphia experiment took place. According to him, during the experiment, he jumped off the ship and was teleported to the future, where he spent 6 weeks in the year 2137 and 2 years in 2749. His descriptions about the future are jaw-dropping, and for believers of his story, the descriptions explain the world as it will be in our very near future. Bielek's story begins in a hospital in the year 2137. According to Bielek, when he awoke after jumping off the ship, he found himself in a hospital in the future with his brother, Duncan Cameron, recovering from radiation injuries. He describes the medical procedures of that time as using light and vibrational treatments. While recovering, he watched television, which he said only showed educational videos and news programs. While watching these programs, he realized that planet Earth had undergone many geographical changes that began sometime in the 21st century. He claimed that U.S. coastlines were different than he remembered due to rising sea levels, which also wiped out much of Florida, except for the Panhandle. He also claims that the Mississippi River was an inland waterway, that the Great Lakes had become one body of water, and that Atlanta, Georgia was only 3 miles from the ocean. What is astonishing about these claims is that they seem to describe the results of climate change. Except when Bielek first came forward, climate change was not at all known to the general public. Bielek also states that the United States and Canadian infrastructure had collapsed and that the two countries were no longer nations, and that a form of martial law existed instead of a central government. He claims that between 1954 and 2000, the U.S. government worked with the extraterrestrials to reverse engineer alien technology. Somewhere between the years 2003 and 2005, he claims that a new world order started to take over, but the start of World War III, which saw Russia and China on one side and the US and Europe on the other, resulted in the collapse of the NWO and that several US cities were destroyed in the war. Bielek then reports that he was somehow teleported to the year 2749 where he spent 2 years. His accounts of that time period state that there were floating cities that could be moved to different parts of the Earth as well as ground bases. There was no government on the planet. Instead, there was something called the Synthetic Intelligence Computer System, which was a large, crystalline structure that floated. According to Bielek, he was interviewed telepathically by the Synthetic Intelligence Computer System. Bielek states that the year 2749 had a completely socialistic structure and that the needs of everyone were taken care of. Bielek first came forward with his story in 1990. While many people have reasons to not believe him, after all, his story, if true, has serious implications about our world and the things we know. It's astonishing how many things seem to be unfolding just the way he said they would. Bielek passed away in 2010, but his story and potential sight into humankind's future will live on forever. If Bielek's claims are true, does that mean our future is predestined? Can we change what happens, or are we stuck with the future he describes? These are important themes surrounding the idea of time travel, and despite Bielek's insight into our future, he was never able to answer these important questions. From Strange-ish, thanks for watching.